The following program is a production of the William Beard & Company, Memphis. Additional production funding provided by the Hohenberg Foundation.
And so I was sitting on the floor with all of these files of all of these different people. And then I came across a file of a guy named Joe. And suddenly I felt as though I had entered into someone's diary. And it was so incredibly personal and so visceral. And I was watching him process going from a virile He-Man guy into the most vulnerable state a human being could ever go through. I was watching him even use the words, "I'm lost."
Alzheimer's does not define a person. The person is that deep core of that self that's down there, that was always aspiring, always wanted to reach out for more.
Alzheimer's is a form of dementia. Dementia is the overall term. It means that you have a cognitive dysfunction. Short-term memory loss is what everybody knows, but also a problem with judgment and reasoning, loss of the abstract.
There's plaques and tangles in the brain, and it stops the movement of the neuron firing so that impulses just don't travel the same tracks they used to or as quickly, and they get kind of stuck in there. So a thought can originate but not move forward.
Alzheimer's is the most common cause of dementia. After that you have stroke dementia, brain injury dementia, long-term drug and alcohol abuse.
They get confused, they forget recent things like whether they just ate lunch and that their daughter's coming to get them at 4 o'clock. But they remember things like when their children were born and what they did when they were kids.
They say it's hereditary, but it may skip a certain family member, but it may go on down to your granddaughter. Just because your parents have Alzheimer's doesn't mean that you're going to get it.
There's some thinking that there's some genetic components to the later stages Alzheimer's, the Alzheimer's disease or the type of dementia that people get when they're older, that there may be some genetic component with that. We have better health in general, so people are living longer. So we don't have as much death when people are infants or children or young adults. So we see more people age to that age where they may have Alzheimer's.
I think we have a bad perception that everybody who has dementia or Alzheimer's is violent. And it's a very small percentage. What you see, though, are people who get agitated because somebody is telling this adult to quit it or to sit down or what have you. And so they get frustrated or they don't understand the situation. So I think more than anything else, be their friend and recognize that sometimes in a friendship, one side has to do a little bit more than the other.
It's apparent that in impairment in the visual system in Alzheimer's patients, it's not just color that can decrease with age. That's probably more just simply age-related in Alzheimer's patients. There's a decrease in contrast, that is, you can't see things that are gray against white as well as against black against white. That also occurs with age, but probably more in Alzheimer's patients. It's not so much the visual system per se as an optical system, but it's association areas. It's the area, once it gets into your brain, what do you do with it? And the loss for patients with Alzheimer's, in my experience, has a lot to do with spatial orientation. They get, this a classic science fiction, lost in space. They get lost because they may see it, but they can't integrate it with the rest of things.
My sister is in the stages of Alzheimer's, and I just saw her yesterday. And in some ways she recognizes me, in other ways she doesn't recognize me. But there's still
my grandmother had a massive stroke, and she was paralyzed on her left side. And so after school, I was in junior high then, but after school, we would go over and help her exercise.
My experience was when I was a child, my great-grandmother, my granddad's mother, began exhibiting signs of dementia and lived on her own for years, and family would drop by.
You have to realize that no one comes in a vacuum. And so you have all these family relationships and how people interacted before the person became ill that sometimes are really counterproductive within the illness. For example, trying to correct somebody. In their mind's eye, they're right. And you're trying to correct means that something's wrong and you're wrong. And so you're lying to them. They can't trust you. And it just kind of sets up bad feelings.
You have to have patience, number one. If you don't have patience, you're gonna be fighting a losing battle. If you argue with the Alzheimer's patient, no one is gonna get upset but yourself.
You know, early in the disease, you would try to orient somebody. You know, today's Monday, but if they think it's Thursday, let it be Thursday. It's not that big a deal. I used to have a participant who come up to my office every day about 10 o'clock, and she'd say, I've got to go home and help Lorraine cook the turkey. Now, I could have stood there and argued with her and told her that Lorraine died 6 months ago and it's the middle of July. It doesn't accomplish anything. Your family called. The turkey's not thawed yet. They're going to call back when they need you to go home and cook. So let's go see what kind of trouble we can get into. And then we'd haul every day, 10 o'clock, but then she was fine for the rest of the day. The idea is that the reminiscing, the getting into their reality allows them that comfort, those comfort memories.
Our lives are so busy. If it takes 30 minutes or an hour to get to work, that's 2 hours a day or an hour a day that you're in the car commuting, and that's time when you could be spending with your family if we lived in this smaller, more cohesive, tinier little town like where I grew up.
We're a therapeutic activity program, and so what we're looking at is a dual mission, both to the person who has the diagnosis of dementia and to the family who's just as much a part of the disease. They may not have the diagnosis, but I promise you they're right there with them. What we're trying to do is give relief to the caregiver. It may be a working caregiver who needs to go to work and know that his mama's not going to be walking down the street, or it can be just a caregiver who just needs time to go home and close both eyes instead of having to keep one open.
We have activities like bingo, we have reminiscing activities.
The plan is to use their reminiscing to help them be comfortable today. If they're in the 1950s, well then let us be in the 1950s with them. Reminiscing
is actually it's things that they grew up knowing, grew up doing, as far as like presidential trivia, things that they used to do. We have some participants who probably grew up on the farm. like myself, I'm just 27, so you know I don't know everything way back when. So when they tell me, you know, I get excited just to know some of the things that they have done way back when, and that makes them feel good because it makes them feel like they're talking to their grandkids, you know, trying to enlighten them on the things that they used to do back in the day.
We also provide support groups, one-on-one counseling, an educational newsletter, family get-togethers, just a ton of things. We have a good time. That's what we're primarily about, looking at how we can emphasize the abilities that are still there, not look at the disability, but the strengths of the person. So many times when someone's diagnosed with Alzheimer's, somebody sees it as the end. And what the art therapy and all will show is how they can continue to live, how there's still quality of life there. They're just communicating in a different fashion.
In my experience, the Alzheimer's has been, or dementia of any kind that affects speech, they're trying so hard to talk, but the words are coming out like a salad. Or they're saying the same thing over and over and they can't get past the first word of the sentence. So their ability to express themselves is impaired verbally, but they get this other opportunity to express themselves in a different way that's visual and that I think resonates with other people when they see that artwork.
I've been a disciple of Martin Buber a long time, who wrote that wonderful book, I and Thou. And he said, when we treat a person as a person, for who that person really is, we establish our own personhood. When we deny the personhood of another person and just treat them as an object, we really diminish something within ourselves.
So it's that artistic sensibility that an artist is giving us is their view of the world. They're helping us see things as they do. Are Alzheimer's showing us? Surely they are. They're showing us how they see things.
When an artist puts something on canvas, it becomes an it. It comes from their own creativity. It's a thou moment for them. They put it on canvas and it becomes an it. But when we look at it, we have the opportunity, the capacity to experience that as an I-thou moment for ourselves. Something happens to us. We see that as an expression of a person's giving of their inner self. And in that moment, we connect with that person through the art.
I've never known anyone who's had Alzheimer's, so I really didn't know what to expect when I went to do these art projects with them. I work in the education department and I really work with a lot of outreach, whether it be schools or community organizations. So this was much more interactive and almost, I mean, you know, art therapy, therapeutic. And this was a completely new audience for the museum. I started off going to the Hickory Hill location. I went there 3 different times, once a week for 3 weeks, and took 3 different artworks. The Winslow Homer, Kandinsky print, and Burton Callicott's Bookshelves and Sunbeams. And then I also went to the Raleigh Center 3 times and worked with them. I think the first image I took was Georgia O'Keeffe's Waterfall. But I saw some people that were a little bit intimidated because they thought maybe they had to realistically copy, you know, some of them didn't quite think they could just interpret it in any way. Like one woman at one of the centers was an artist, but she said she couldn't do these projects. And she ended up doing them finally with a lot of, you know, convincing. But she said, you know, I just can't do art anymore. I don't remember how to do it. The souls of these people and just their creativity. I know a lot of them probably never thought of themselves as artists, but some of the artwork is just, it's amazing. And you could put it next to some of the greatest artworks, you know, in the world.
I got a call and was asked to come to a daycare an adult daycare. It was Alzheimer's Day Services. Just come and look. And I went, and I just fell in love. By the time I left there, I knew I would be coming back. And even though I'd never done art therapy with Alzheimer's or dementia clients before, I knew that was what I needed to do. And I got to sit with them, and there's something about watching them to make those marks and have those experiences and enjoy themselves. And in that hour, they were in art, which is a long time for someone to pay attention that has dementia. Okay, an hour they'll sit there, or longer, and just paint away. And I recognized that that right brain shift, that visit of the muse, whatever you want to call it, the artists have. So I recognized that as something that I also knew. And so I kept looking for ways to help these individuals experience that. And whether it was taping the paper down or giving them images that provoked memories or whatever, I tried everything I could think of to make it work for them.
We look at their art after they have completed, and we ask, what does this piece mean to you? And whatever they say, we just write it down on the bottom of it. And once you listen to what they say and look at the picture, you can see where they're coming from with this. You can tell if they're having a good day or a bad day. And we have some pretty creative Alzheimer's participants out there. You'll find that they have talent out of this world.
One particular participant has miles of stripes, and they are so precise, and you can tell his personality through the expression of these absolute stripes.
But what we see is, depending on the mood he is in, the colors that he uses. He uses lighter colors when he's really in a good mood, and darker, more deep colors when he's just not feeling too good or he's concerned about something.
The Georgia O'Keeffe painting, which is a waterfall, one woman painted this scene, and she said, "This is one day when I was driving down Lamar Avenue and God appeared to me in the sky wearing black clothing." And that's what she painted. And it just was amazing to see that this Georgia O'Keeffe waterfall, brought this memory.
It was like I was enabling these artists to open up to that creative energy and let it flow through them. And lo and behold, some of the same images came from them as I'd seen elsewhere. I kept a college textbook of artwork, and I would show them their work, like in this book. Look, this person's famous and made thousands and millions of dollars selling this painting, and it looks just like yours. And there's this sense of pride that what they did might be valued in this society, I saw lines like Kandinsky. I saw color field like Rothko.
He did a lot of very abstract work, a lot of color field painting. So they're just big blocks of colors. And I think a lot of the ones in the show are very reminiscent of his work.
The thing that struck me about these Alzheimer drawings, I was just astonished. They were so contemporary. They could have been advertisements for a commercial gallery's exhibition of contemporary avant-garde painters.
Some of the brushstroke, like you see in the Impressionists, I saw some of that kind of work. Look for all the world like Cezanne or Seurat, and I couldn't believe this was coming out of these folks. I didn't used to believe in the Jungian concept of a universal consciousness. However, when I started working with these individuals and I saw this work and I saw how people who'd never met, that worked in different places in different parts of the city, were doing similar imagery and applying the paint in a similar way, that's when I started to believe in that there was something else going on here, some other larger something going on, that I was really just facilitating.
What I was struck by as I went through each piece was the image of the mandala, which is in ancient tradition in the East, a circle. And what I had found out through questioning the director of Alzheimer's Day Services was that they would be very intimidated by a huge sheet of paper and would feel much more comfortable within the confines of a circle. And that it was inside of a circle was significant to me, and that every tradition or every collective unconscious sort of symbol in American, Native American mythology, Tibetan, Sanskrit, you name it, they all have the mandala.
These things, they seem very sophisticated. They didn't try to represent anything in this world of time and space, just went immediately to some transcendental goal. So I can't answer your question as to why could they do this and why can't I do that? I've been fiddling around with it for a number of years, but I couldn't do that.
My experience is eventually there comes a time when they can't attend to it anymore as the disease progresses. I would hope they would find that soon after they're diagnosed, because they begin to lose the verbal ability to talk about what's going on with them at the very same time that all these things are happening and their lives are changing in very dramatic ways. They're losing control in every part of their life. Their kids get together, they have to sell their house. I mean, there's so many things that have to happen when you find out you have a terminal illness, and it's going to affect your cognition, your ability to think. And I want them to find the art as soon as possible, because I want them to be able to use that process to work through the grieving that they have to do about losing what they thought their life was going to be. They thought they'd be there for their grandkids and their great-grandkids, and they thought they were going to get to retire with their husband and live at the beach house that they saved for all their life, and they're not going to get to do that. And so I want them to have a way to grieve that so that they can age gracefully, because grieving is hard work. It's hard enough when you can talk clearly. Imagine not being able to talk.
You know, we have to remember the person as they have been all along, and know that this changing circumstances in their life does not eradicate all the good that they've done in the world.
The way I see this is, and I think it's our culture, and I think it's in the West more than it's anywhere else, is that we have lost the capacity to value our elders and what our elders have to give us that we can integrate into our lives. And I think this is an opportunity in every walk of our lives, whatever we're doing in our lives. If it's in our career, if it's in raising our children, to refer to that aspect of knowledge and refer to that aspect of wisdom that keeps being dumbed down culturally.
I'm a strong believer that memory is very important in human relationships, to remember who we are, where we came from, to remember all the people that helped us, the tributaries of our life. And you yearn for something that goes deeper, to say, what does it mean to be human? How can we connect as human beings and understand each other and contribute to each other and create a society of kindness, love? You know, I think that connection between human beings is the fundamental part of life. And my feeling is that art symbolizes the aspiration of the human spirit to reach out and understand what the meaning of life is.